Okay, I am with Robert and Sean, and we're looking at the process of we're now at the meeting with the client and customer. So it's what to cover at the meeting, what's the agenda. I'm just going to pass over to Robert to talk us through the process.
Okay, so walking into the building, I think it's very important, and it's always stood by me over the years for a warm introduction when we're going in, whether that's with initially the receptionist, and then obviously you'll be led to wherever you're heading off to for your meeting, and you'll meet your prospects. So let's take, for example, we're meeting a transport manager and a managing director in a meeting room. Important for warm, firm handshake. We're post-COVID now, so we're able to do all that nice stuff again. And I think that always stands by you. As part of that warm introduction as well, then a little bit of just introductory chat, couple of minutes around locality, what you know in that area, what you've seen on the way down, before sitting down to kind of getting into the bit of a background on their business and our business and what we're here to talk about today. I always like to start with a background to our business, because ultimately the reason we're here today, let's say we're in a meeting scenario today, is to get involved in a long-term partnership here where we're going to provide your business technology that will help your business with its efficiency and its transport management. And generally speaking, we're getting involved in a 5-year relationship here. So I like to make the company that I'm talking to for the very first time aware of the background and the values of Cubicle, and our rich 22-year history within the technology space within transport, where the company had come from initially with very basic GPS dot on a map technology, and the importance of the interaction between the company and the clients in that evolution of where the company is today, to be able to tackle all elements of transport management, from live camera systems right down to your basic GPS tracker and all the nice stuff in the middle. So once we go through that, which probably takes 5 minutes to go through, and a bit of personal background on myself, which I like to do as well. I worked in the industry for almost 15 years. We build a bit of credibility, both personally, because they're going to buy and be in a relationship with me long term, and then with Cubicle. And we move into just a bit of light kind of questioning and discovery. A lot of this has already been carried out in the kind of pre-qualification. So I know how many vehicles we're looking at. I know what type of vehicles we're looking at. I know that if they're running gas or electric vehicles as well. So we're fairly well aware of what's going to be coming up. But it's really just to bring that to life on the day and get all the information out there. And that also helps me steer the demonstration that I'm about to give. Because, as I say, we've many products now. So if everything's geared towards, if they've got gas and everything's geared towards sustainability and fuel improvement and reduction of operational costs, I'm going to steer that presentation down the line of Fuel Smart, for example, which will allow the guys to monitor fuel management, fuel usage, driver performance, and that kind of stuff. So we go through a period of questioning around the fleet, drivers. There's a lot that can be discussed around drivers. And compliance and punctuality, and even just their appearance and how they're customer facing as well. So the drivers are a key part to their business, and we do a lot around drivers. We can tailor the system to follow a driver as opposed to a truck. So there's a lot there between the technology that we offer and the driver themselves. Once we have a bit of a body of information built up just through general conversation, and that probably takes through about 15 minutes, 20 minutes of a meeting, I then enter into a live demonstration of the system. And at that stage, there's 100% of our system that I can show. We probably went down to about 30% that I know I'm going to be touching on the other 70, but focusing on the 30% where I know the customer, through the fact finding that just carried out, they want to see. So if I can just share the screen, treat this like a brief live demonstration. So you can see the live telematics system as we have it. So we've got the vehicles down the left-hand side and the map screen in the middle. And what I'll do then is I'll place a number of vehicles from the demo fleet onto the map. This gives the client at the other side of the table just a glimpse into what we would call our landing page. So this is what the new prospective customer would see every day when they log in, a picture of where their fleet is, which is great. It gives them a snapshot of the activity and where the vehicles are. I then select an individual vehicle and just give them a glance at what they can see in real time per vehicle. So we've got registration, we have the location of the vehicle, the date and time of the last update, the current status of the vehicle, which is driving. You can see the amount of fuel in the tank, which is a key component of the FuelSmart product. We're able to monitor the fuel level in the tank 24/7. Some other key information there around odometer. And then what we can also look at then is the vehicle's activity today. So it's basic 24-hour activity. By way of a quick snap report. Now we do have other reports which will come on and show you, which give you more detail and allow you to look at longer term data. This is just a live feed of information in this 24-hour period. You see how quick and easy it is as well, just to drop into that. And we'll have a conversation with the prospective client around that key quick information. Some of the other information that we have there, live driving information where it's available, so we can click this information where there's a driver card in the tracker, after we have that live information available, as well as that then the live cameras. We can click in here and view the vehicle's live cameras, as well as a number of other features that we can delve into and were applicable in that particular demonstration. Focusing on FuelSmart then, and move across then into the reports tab with our clients. And I would focus on a number of reports that the FuelSmart system lends itself very well to. So I just clear that and select the same vehicle again, just select one vehicle. I'm going to run a basic CAN bus report, which allows us to see the activity of a vehicle, which will include location, speed, fuel information, and some basic driver performance for a selected period of time. So if I look at, and keep it simple, just look at the period of yesterday, for example. The vehicle may not have been active yesterday. I'll capture a couple of vehicles. Okay. So some high-level information on Scania R450 with registration 202KE1942. The vehicle was driven yesterday for 6 hours and 52 minutes. Total driving time was 6 hours and 18 minutes, and the total distance travelled was 290 kilometres or miles. We can have that in either. The excess RPM 0%, excess idle time 0%. This is fantastic. Total engine idle time of 8%. Industry allowance would be around 10%. So we can see that these guys are below the 10% sort of threshold. So very, very good. Harsh acceleration, harsh braking, miles per gallon, total fuel used for the period, CO2 emissions, which we know that's very important to these guys, fuel wasted on idle, which is a very small amount in this case, litres per 100 kilometres, cruise control time spent, and time of the engine's actually been stopped in that 24-hour period that I've requested the report for. So there's some real key data in there that can be really, really useful for fleet managers.
Yeah.
Further down within that report, you can drill down into every individual journey. The journey itself will be dictated by ignition on and ignition off. Each of these individual journeys, we have the option to drop down in, and we can look at all that key data that we summarised at the top on a journey by journey basis. So that will be a vehicle level report. What our clients also like to see then is a fleet level report. So I can click on multiple vehicles and run the vehicle lead table report. And we run that for last week. And the idea of this report then is that it puts the 7 vehicles that I've selected in a league table based on performance. And we're basing the performance on some KPIs here. We're looking at the MPG mark, engine over revving, engine idle time, harsh braking, and overspeeding. These are all KPIs that if you can get your driver as a fleet operator to perform at an optimal level, there's significant fuel savings to be achieved. So it's something that 90% of fleet operators would be very interested in. So some of the other reports then that we would look at would be around the sustainability factor. So like your CO2 and your carbon footprint, we have a report that summarizes all this in the form of the sustainability report. Can you give us a quick type there?
Just off the snare.
We launched that for the last week. This report gives you information, specifically key information around what food operators are looking at in terms of their carbon emissions and their carbon output. You can see here then that your start odometer for the duration, end odometer, total CO2 emissions for that period, NOx, nitrous oxide for that period, PM, AdBlue used, which is a big cost for operators, and fuel used, which is an obvious big cost, as well as then your MPG. So we're taking all that other information out of it. We don't really care how many journeys has been had in there, how many harsh breaks. We really want to get down to the key sustainability factors within the fleet, within this report. There are, as you can see from the drop down, many other reports. And as part of the onboarding and training process, we take our transport operators and our new clients through all of these reports in a detailed training.
Yeah.
But in terms of the live demo, we'll summarize the key points from the discovery, and we'll go from there. So I'll move on then. After a live demonstration, I'll offer the option up to the guys there, and it's an open forum as well. I dictated that to you really, but for demonstration purposes, it's an open forum, so the guys will be familiar with the technology and the data that I'm showing them. So at any stage, they have the option to come in and say, Robert, could you show me specifically where we can get the CO2 from, or can we go in there on MPG, or can we look at MPG without idle time? There'll be an option there, an opportunity for questioning and back and forth, which is great. Whenever that happens, it leads me as a salesperson where they need to go, so it makes the process much easier. After that, after the kind of question period, after the live demo, the questioning period, then what everybody wants to know is, what's this going to cost me? So the obvious question will generally come 9.5 times out of 10 from the other side of the table. Robert, this is fantastic. You have the best system on the market. What's it going to cost me? So at that point, I will always give, I'll not duck away from that. We will always give some form of indicative pricing, depending on the product that they're looking at. So in the instance here of Fuel Smart, it's quite straightforward. We've fairly standardized pricing here. So we give the clients an indication of what the pricing is going to be, and we'd agree some follow-up actions with them at that point. I would be sort of passing this one back to Sean at this stage. I'd be agreeing with the guys. Guys, it's 12 noon here. We'll have a quotation with you by 3 p.m. this afternoon. Take your time to consider the proposal. We contact you back 5 to 7 days. I'll give you a call back. You've got my contact details. If any questions come up after this that you're thinking, geez, I forgot to ask them about fuel level or whatever that may be, by all means, open communication right the way through this kind of what you would nearly call negotiation period. Feel free to contact me, but here's your proposal, and I'll contact you in 5 days for what will hopefully be a decision or for some feedback on that. Yeah, so at that stage then that would conclude it. Obviously, conclude the meeting with a warm conclusion. Thanks for your time, all the pleasantries, reiterate the agreements, and then I would pass the notes that have been taken and all the key information across to Sean, who would then work in the background there and getting the information uploaded onto our opportunities pipeline, creating the proposal, getting that out to the prospect in the agreed time frame, and then we're on to the next stage.
Okay, excellent. Few questions for me. That was great. During the demo, if we look at, say, so there's the live data piece, then there's all the reports. Generally, do you find like frequently asked questions come up, or are they can be a whole range of questions you can get? How long generally do they take a question in you too? Does it feel like an interrogation, or is it?
No, it's as I say, it's great because I would say 80-20 is normally the rule, but I'm going to say 90% of the people that we sit in front of either have a system like this and you're showing them an upgrade, or they have experience of using systems, so they know what you've got to, so they're sort of, oh yeah, happy days, okay, well, Fleetmatics did this, but can you do that? Or the system that we used to have, we have cameras, but can you actually show me your cameras on the system? Which is great because they're then leading the whole sales process, which is kind of what you want. It's a two-way street, because there's nothing worse than the door-to-door salesman knocks on your door and he's trying to sell you whatever it is, and you're just opening the door and being pleasant, closing the door in his face, and it's over. You're not going to sell much that way.
Yeah.
If it's an open two-way street, it's much more pleasant sitting at my side of the table.
Brilliant. Okay. And when you come to that, the pricing stage, that indicative price, so you're saying there's a fairly standard price list. Do you have that in your head when you're going into that room? You know what size of fleet, you know what that number is going to be before you even enter the room.
Yes.
Okay. And would Sean be aware of your thinking at that stage?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Sean and I share the pricing structure, and he'd be well aware of that, and he would scold me if I give anything away in the meeting.
Very good. And what does that look like? Do you actually like verbalize figures, or do you give a brochure with figures?
To give you a real example of this scenario, if we're looking at FuelSmart, I would be looking at 195 and 12 a month.
Okay.
It's very, very simple. But I'd also be looking at then for the FuelSmart package, you have to have the TrackSmart. So it would be 195 for the TrackSmart. And then the proposal that backs that up. So it would be 195 for the TrackSmart, a tenner a month, 195 for the FuelSmart, and 12 a month. And the proposal that would back that up would be in a nice table form that Sean will show us at the next
do afterwards. Okay.
Which is great, because they're getting that verbally at 12 noon and they're getting it in writing at 3 p.m. In one day, it's all.
Okay, perfect. So you're verbalizing the figures. Sean's going to be following up with a quote a few years later, and that's the process. Okay, class. Okay, anything, Sean, you want to add on your side, or Dan?
No, all good, all good.
Good. Okay, let me just stop recording here.